No, I wasn't always in the back of my mind to play Obi-Wan Kenobi again. I think if you'd asked me after we finished episode 3, when we shot it in 2003, if I would do it again, I would probably most definitely have said no. Just because the films were so difficult to make. The technology was... George was like pushing into the... He was pioneering digital cameras and visual effects to the point where, he wanted to exercise that as much as he could, which meant he was creating more and more of the backgrounds in post-production, which meant for us, we were working more and more on just blue screens, blue set stages, green stages. There was just nothing, my memory of episode 2 and 3 is really vague because there was nothing there. I spent most of episode 2 running around on my own, where I discovered the clone armies and being built and stuff with these tall aliens, and I just spent weeks walking around on a blue stage speaking to a tennis ball on a stick. And it's really hard work. It's not really anything like what I'd been doing to that point or since, I guess. So it was really hard work, and also they weren't received very well when they came out. So I think if you'd asked me then, I would have said no. I've done my part with the Star, and was really happy to be part of the Star Wars world and its legend. I really mean that. I was very privileged to be able to do that and have this link between me and such a great actor as Alec Guinness. Then I guess what happened was I kept getting asked in interviews, would I do it again? Would I do it again? And there was a period of time where every interview I did ended with the same 2 questions. Would you do the sequel to Trainspotting? And would you play Obi-Wan Kenobi again? And I started thinking about it, and I started thinking, well, there must be actually a good story to tell between episode 3 and 4. And I also started feeling this warmth for the films that we made from the people we made them for. The young people who loved the films when they came out. We didn't really hear their voice at the time, because there was no social media or anything. We just heard the critics' voice, and the critics were pretty negative about them. But the warmth that I've realized there is for those original films started to make its way to me, and I felt good about it. And I thought, well, actually, as an acting challenge to play the young Alec Guinness again, but not quite so young this time, would be interesting, and in a very different place, to the character to be in a very different, broken, faithless place would be a kind of cool exercise. Well, at the beginning of the series, I guess it's about 10 years. They're saying 10 years. I think it's less than that. Let's say 8 to 10 years after the end of episode 3. So the Jedi Order have all been destroyed, and those who haven't been killed have gone into hiding. They're not able to communicate with each other because if they use the Force, they feel that they'll draw attention to themselves, and they know that the Jedis are being hunted down to be eliminated. That's the idea. So Obi-Wan Kenobi's living on Tatooine, where we've seen him deliver the baby Luke Skywalker to Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru at the end of episode 3. And he's there trying to live a normal life, but a very solitary life. He's lonely, and the only responsibility he has left from his old life as a Jedi is to keep an eye over Luke Skywalker, which he does from a distance. Uncle Owen's made it very clear that he doesn't want him around, and it feels like he might draw attention to the child, to Luke, and therefore put him in danger. And so Obi-Wan's treading this delicate path of wanting to feel responsible for to keep an eye out for his safety, but at the same time not drawing attention to him. At the beginning of the series, Obi-Wan Kenobi's not the man he used to be. He even says that, and he's not living with the Force anymore. He's just working hand to mouth. He's living in the desert, and he's pretty sad. He's lost all his friends, isn't he? And he also is carrying this huge weight this guilt, maybe, if you like, that he lost Anakin to the dark side, and he feels responsible for that. It was great to have so much time. When we started talking about making Obi-Wan Kenobi, it was going to be a movie, and that was going to be cool. But we have now 6 hours in which to tell this story, and it makes. I don't know. I really liked it. I didn't feel like it was a lesser thing than a movie. I think those days are gone, aren't they? Really, the TV show just gives us longer to explore Obi-Wan's. I always thought what was interesting was to tell a story about a man who's lost his faith, and how does he get it back? How does he get that back? And that's what we had this 6-hour span to do, and it's very satisfying. Also, I have to say, the whole experience was amazing because I got to work with Deborah Chow, who I really, really respect as a director. And because she was able to direct all of the episodes, it was like making a 6-hour-long movie. It was that for all of us. That's what it felt like. Yeah, over the last 6-7 years, I guess, I've really started feeling the warmth there is for the prequels. When they came out, there was no social media. There was no avenue to hear the audience's reactions, really, and I've never really gone out to look for that. I've never done that with any of my work. So all I heard was the sort of negative critic's voice, which, they decided not to like them very much. I always thought that we did something very interesting. I thought George was pioneering some amazing technology for its time, and therefore, changing cinema, really, which is what he's done with ILM and some of the other the technology that he's pioneered. Digital cameras, we were the first ones to use in episode 2. But he was also trying to do something different. He wasn't trying to remake the original 70s movies. That he was not doing that. That he was trying, and I think the critics just didn't really see it, and they didn't like them. So over the last wee while, now that that young generation who we made the films for have become people that come up to me and say, let me know what they meant to them, and that our prequels were their Star Wars films, in the same way that the Alec Guinness, Carrie Fisher movies were mine. It's really been a lovely experience. It's nice to feel that warmth for them.